There used to be a music store here I'd stop in now and then to screw around with instruments I couldn't afford and had no intention of buying. It shut down a while ago. They auctioned off everything. I went to the auction, but I still couldn't afford any of it. Then they tore the building down and put up a storage facility across the street from the same brand of storage facility. They keep tearing down historic buildings in this neighborhood to put up these storage facilities. People got a lot of shit they need kept somewhere they can't see it. Acres of hidden keepsakes. Mementos. Memento Mori is Latin for remember that you will die. We moved here 5 years ago into a house that didn't have much storage. Most of our stuff's still in boxes back in my office. I think it's time to fix that. When we bought this house, it looked like this. On the other side of the kitchen counter was a breakfast bar. We don't use it because we have a proper dining table. We painted the ugly wood paneling a while back because it didn't match anything, and it still wasted space. Plus, for whatever reason, there's a ridiculous number of electrical outlets here. So we're gonna take all this out and replace it with a built-in bookcase instead. First, let's draw up the plans. We live in a craftsman-style bungalow, so we're going with a simple craftsman-style bookcase. The countertop edge is going to present some issues. It's not the same length on both sides, so we'll have to figure that out later. The main rule for any of our projects is that we got to use what we have on hand. I mean, scrap wood, building materials, whatever. We can only buy things if we absolutely have to. Before we strip this wood paneling, safety first, I don't know which circuits these outlets are on, so I'll have to go to the breaker box to find out. That's more like it. It turns out these are all on the west side GFI circuit. Double check, make sure there's no juice in these sockets, and now it's time to get cracking. Well, our first issue arises. Turns out the kitchen counters sit on the floor, but the stud holding everything up goes down to the slab, meaning that the countertop is held up by a bunch of shims. The back paneling isn't a standard height. Gonna have to make our first adjustment to the plans. But for now, demo time. Gonna have some problems down the line here. The backside support for the right side shelf is supposed to be attached to these studs that are covered by nail guards where the hot and cold water for the sink faucet go in. So we're gonna have to find some other way to secure that on the left side. Of these 5 outlets, we're keeping 3 of them. We're moving this one to be the outlet for the new dishwasher I'm installing. It turns out they put plugs on dishwashers these days. The other one we're gonna get rid of entirely. The top 3 can stay, we use them here and there. I got an old table saw from our neighbor Mona, but it didn't have a belt and it needed a new main pulley. The old one seized. This is really a job for a gear puller. I don't have a gear puller, so I built my own. Okay, that's all fixed up. Let's see if she works. Let's saw some wood. I trimmed out some scrap hardy board to replace the paneling. A sheetrock would probably be easier, but I have this on hand and it'll give us another 1/8 of an inch or so to work with. Now we're laying things out to make sure it all lines up right. So far, mostly so good. We'll have to make a few adjustments. Wood filler to the rescue on all the gaps. The bottom shelves are trimmed out with leftover hardy plank and scrap wood. Over on the wall side, well, this is a problem. The wall ends before our backing begins, so we'll have to trim that out with some more scrap wood. This baseboard, however, is going to be a real mess. Oh, that'll do. This shelf support piece of wood is warped. I'll have to come up with some way to make it stay straight. These pieces, that's not the best work. We'll see if it fits though. Well, that's another problem. And it turns out the floor is not flat. We'll trim what we can and the rest, well, nobody will notice. Anyway, a little shim will fix this part fine at least. With everything in place, time for some caulking and painting. That's not my specialty. The last bit, double masking the edge between the bookcase and the wall. Done. Now let's get to work unpacking these dusty boxes. These aren't all of our books. Plenty of those will have to stay in boxes for now. But like any good bookshelf, it's got things we like and things that mean something to us. Keepsakes. Mementos.